also noticing a few items about this post that I'd like to modify. For instance, whenever I create a post, I shouldn't just drop in images. I should actually have some real content that the search engines can work with and that people and your viewers can read to keep them engaged in the message of the site. So what I'm just going to do is a sample, and this is, you're able to modify at any given point in time. I'm going to go back to my actual text document, and we have these lines in the layout that Sean Chapman presented you with. So I'm going to copy this, and your intent may not be for this to go where I'm going to place it, but again, you can modify this at will. I'm going to go back into the post. I'm going to edit. I'm going to select on my gallery. Sorry, I'm going to select at my heading. I'm going to put in a space. And I'm going to note here what it says, that the format of the text that it's going to place or that you're going to be working with is now going to be just a paragraph, and that's exactly what I want. So now I'm going to just Control V and paste that. But I notice I have an extra line space here, and just like Word, I want to remove that. Now here, this text editor window is always just like Word. You don't have to be concerned about putting in special HTML characters like BR. Okay? And there's another special character that I'll mention really briefly, which is a span. And what the span does in here in your heading is give you the ability to change that text to white. If you notice on your site, all the headings are orange. You have the ability to change certain letters or words by wrapping it in what's called a span. And I'm going to show you that in another lesson. And I ask you to use that sparingly. Unfortunately, the span character shows up in certain areas of the site and makes the site look somewhat not finished. But it's the only alternative we can do for you to easily be able to change that character. So it's a feature and a method that you should use sparingly. Okay, so I pasted in that copy. I'm going to update. And just to add emphasis, I think I'm going to select this copy. And you can also Command or Control Z to undo. So I'm going to select this copy, and I'm just going to italicize it. And you can see I selected here in the formatting menu. I'm going to update. And if I decided to, or if you decide to change this copy at any time, simply just replace it, update the post, another thing I'd like to do is now make this visible to everyone and say that it's public. I'm going to say OK. I'm going to say publish now. I'm going to view my post, and I can do that here, and if you noticed, I can do that here. So I'm going to view the post, and this is what my actual post looks like. Sorry, we'll back up. Interesting, hey? And very simple and easy. I have my gallery, which is a dynamic gallery, where I can select, go through the passengers by history, and I've just noticed something else. Reverend Pope, if we're talking about chronological order, should come after Reverend Montgomery. So let's edit that. Again, I can edit the post here, or I can edit here. I can select my gallery. I can say edit by clicking the picture icon. And I can select and drag Reverend Pope right after. So now you see I've changed the order. I'm going to update the gallery. I'm going to update the post. I want to view the post. I'm going to scroll down, and as you can see, I've changed the order, and it's just that simple and easy. But now, one other thing. Every time we make a contribution to WordPress, we can't, or we shouldn't be too concerned about our content being lost, especially if it's content and relevant current content that you'd like people to see. We have options without adding new elements to menus, our navigational part of the site up here. The way your site has been designed, this area is somewhat fixed, although it is not. You have submenus here, such as the welcome page and leadership page. If you are to create new pages, which we'll cover in another lesson, you'll be creating more subpages from these main category areas. But we want to keep this easy to use, especially for mobile users on cell phone. So the rule of thumb that we'd like to follow is never to really add menus. We'll stick with what we've got. But how do we make that work? We know this will show up in my feed on ministries page, as we can see. All my content goes there. This is how the public sees everything that I do within the site. But as time goes on, this is going to move down in chronological order. And I'll have to actually go back through the navigational elements here to actually see that. But I want to kind of keep this in an area where people can only see it and find it easily. What should I do? I have under my about, I have the welcome and we have the leadership. This is where we'll get into the conversation about linking, which is also extraordinarily important to your site. How about we put it on the welcome page? Whenever I go to welcome, I'll have my welcome message as well as quick links, which I can modify this information at any time and actually even insert images and galleries. But we want to keep this area simple. And the welcome message is a good place to kind of point people back to other information. So let's click in here and put a return. We're still in our list. And let's say, find out the history of our, I'm thinking as I'm typing. This is pretty much for you, and I just want to put something here temporary for right now, but just to give you an idea, and we want it to be compelling. Let's keep it simple. Our church leadership history. I'm going to select all of that, and then I'm going to click here where it says link. And this is how I link to other content on my site. If I click here, I can put in an actual URL from another web address. And I always want to give that a title. If I want to link to other content within my site, I can look here. Link to existing content. I can search for something that I know of, or I can look through here and see what I have. If I look over here to my right, I can see if it has a date, it's a post. Otherwise, it'll tell me it's an actual page. And you guys are not going to be posting content to pages. You'll only be creating posts. So, what I want to look for is, let's do a search in this area. Leadership. Since I can't remember the actual name. We have church history, leadership. We know that's not it. History of church leadership. Let's select that link. And let's add it. And let's change this to say the same thing. We don't always need to do that, but it'll make sense in this case. History of church leadership. Okay, looks good. I think I'm going to update this post. I'm going to view the post. And speaking of that span, this is how we got our welcome message to be 2 different colors. By wrapping it in that span. Again, it's an option, but use it only sparingly. It can ultimately ruin the character of your site if used too much. Here we can see our welcome, which is white because it's wrapped in that span. We scroll down, we have some introductory text, as well as we have some links here, and we have the link to History of Church Leadership. And now that content also has a quick place and a shortcut too. It's not lost. And we didn't need to add any new menus. My welcome is here. It's on my front page. Say read more. I quickly got back to that post. Okay,